Inhyuk, then, when you have come to the US,
hmm
what have you noticed as the biggest difference here versus your home where you grew up?
hmm Recently, she taught me like there's kind of culture difference, kind of in Korea, like everyone is not talking with the stranger in the street. So, for example, in the elevator, like in US, they can say how's going, talking about the weather or what something they're going to do. But in Korea, like if you say if you say to stranger, it's like uncomfortable because like there's so many strange people around you in Korea, so they don't want to like talk about too much information about each other.
Mhm. So we were at the grocery store today, and
Yeah,
there were strangers who were just recommending random
yeah,
things in the store. And in the neighborhood here, I mean, most of the people we know now because we've lived here for so long, but someone will drive by and they don't even know you and they wave.
yeah.
And
Koreans seem very interested in themselves,
Mhm.
which is interesting to say because you think Americans would be more self-centered
Mhm.
and
Yeah,
interested in themselves. But it's just in a different way. All humans are self-centered and all humans care about each other, but it's definitely in a different way.
So I wonder, because I do have a question about the culture, but as we're talking through this, it makes me wonder if that, I'll call it coldness, may not be the right word, is almost like because, yeah, um, it's so populous. People have so little space
yeah.
that it's almost like a respect thing
hmm
in their mind. Like I've seen, don't talk to people on the bus, don't bother them on the subway.
Yeah.
And maybe it's not so much to not be friendly, but it's I don't want to invade their space. I don't want to bother them. I know that they're crowded on here with everyone else too. So because the reason I wonder that is in sociology, we studied collectivist societies and
hmm
individualistic societies.
hmm
And so the US is mentioned as an individualistic society where people are concerned with their own wealth, their own well-being, getting the most they can. And then Korea is always used as an example of a collectivist society, like, okay, you always have everyone else in mind. We don't litter because it affects everyone. We do the trash and all the recycling because it affects everyone. So it's interesting that you say just like interested in themselves.
I was just gonna say, whereas in the US we don't litter because we get fined.
Right. Like completely different logic.
hmm
Okay, I didn't even think about that.
hmm
Hmm. So, like the US prioritizes individual goals,
hmm
and Korea is said to prioritize group goals or country goals
Yeah.
because they had to work so hard as a country
Mm.
to to fight for freedom recently and work themselves up to the amazing like technological center, amazing city that Seoul is now. Since you grew up there, Inhyuk, can you think of a couple of examples of that demonstrate that collectivist mentality that
Yeah.
Koreans have?
I think there is a like pros and cons. In my opinion, Korean people is really sensitive to issues. For example, they're really like interested in punishment of politician. So, for example, like maybe in 2016 or 17, there's a kind of the president did really wrong, and she was counting on the other people who's like controlling her. Some girl was controlling her behind of her with a kind of mace. Yeah, so people mad in Korea. So they historical spot and holding the candle and everyone gathering and it's this thing that we should change our president. So that will be an example.
That's a great example. And even recently, I think it was last year maybe, or the year before, where the people were very unhappy with that the
Martial
martial law
law.
that the president called, and wait, like they took action
Mm-hmm.
together right away.
And
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, and they got things accomplished.
Mm.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I was working overnight.
Yeah, that's a really good point because that's the working together
Mm-hmm.
part and having the best interest of the country in mind. Hmm. And people turn out.
It's a
Like they
collective, yeah.
showed.
I thought of another thing.
Hmm?
When people turn out, the people who can't make it have ordered coffee to coffee shops nearby
Hmm?
and post online, I ordered you coffee, like you can go and give this name. And then the people who are protesting go and get coffee from the people who can't make it.
Yeah.
And I've never heard anything like that happening
It's
here. I
interesting.
mean, you know, I'm not good at history, but I've just never heard of it. After some slight technical difficulties, we're back. Pay no attention. There's a difference.
Yeah. Different positioning with the camera. Do you have a favorite thing about the US?
Oh.
Something that you've noticed on your trips here?
Hmm.
Besides me.
Besides your wife.
Oh. Yeah, so US, imagine that I'm living in US, that I can take nature and more space, more private space. For example, when you're living in Korea, if you have not that much money to take the apartment in Seoul, or so like you can just stay in like small size of room and congested with people, too condensed. So you should go like drive out of the Seoul and you can enjoy the nature. So when you live in US, you can maybe you can have a yard
Right.
and
Yeah.
and you can enjoy the forest near your home. So I think nature, and you don't need to get stressed about the condensed population in a small area.
Yeah, good point. Because the first time you went over there, you said everything is built up like that because, I mean, it is a peninsula. You can only expand so far. How westernized would you say Seoul is? And since you've lived there your whole life, how has it changed? How have you noticed a change?
Okay, I think people really like to be westernized. So for example, like maybe it's a myth, like when you are selling a food, you're writing down Korean English, for example, like when you're writing down in a Korean sandwich, it would be better to see sandwich in English because it looks so westernized. So people think like, oh, it's like kind of US thing. People are not like to defense being westernized. So it's just keep going and going. Yeah.
So do they don't mind it, they enjoy it?
They don't mind it. I think the education, like, as you know, Korean people is really, really like interested in their education of child, and even they're like giving them some chances to learn English, even their international ages 4 to 6 is really young, and they're like exposed to English, and maybe the education is like igniting the fire to get being westernized.
Sometimes in certain aspects of like the inventions in Korea, it seems more westernized than here. Like for example, like at a lot of restaurants they have the robot waiters that bring you your food.
Yeah.
We don't, I mean, I'm sure there's somewhere here, but like it's a lot of places there. Or like before you cross the road, they have like lights on the ground, red or green, if you can walk or not. So it's like in some cases it feels more current, more advanced, more up to date than sometimes we have here. But on the flip side, there's a lot of people in Korea who still have a very traditional and not Western mind and way of thinking. Like an example of that is like accepting people who are different than you, who believe in different things, who dress differently, kind of like that.
So thank you guys so much for your time. It's fascinating. Your stories and your information is fascinating. We have a lot more questions, but we'll stop there for now. And then maybe tomorrow we'll pick up and continue. Come back for part 4. We'll do a part 5 just in case. Come back for part 5. Thank you. Thanks a lot.